got to do. He did not want this message to go forth. I called my girl Jess before and we prayed together. And I told her, I said, he doesn't want this message to go through today. I already knew. He tried to come against this message last night. Like he tried to come against this message last night. Go share this video right now. We're going to get this message out. He tried to come against this message. He tried to come against this. I'm telling you, he did. He tried to come against this last night. I'm telling you, at midnight when Paul and Silas prayed. All right, thank y'all for logging back on. Go share the video live right now. I was talking to you about joy in the morning. I'm going to back up a little bit because I want to share something with you. I read Isaiah 61, and what I was simply saying is there comes a point in a time when everything that you've been through, I'm telling you that the Lord is going to exchange your joy for mourning. Like he's going to exchange mourning for your joy. And he tried it, didn't we? We ain't even going to spend a whole lot of time talking about him. And I was just sharing and talking about all the things that I had been through. And at the depth of this, what God began to share with me or show me more than anything, how I had the wrong perception of God's love for me. I was trying to tie the reservoir of God's love to the relationships around me. I was trying to attach the people that I thought should have loved me perfectly. I was trying to attach those relationships and quantify and qualify them as being God's love. And in everything that I had been through, the Lord began, because I asked the Lord, I've gone through some things even lately that I haven't been able to share with you. I want to share with you, but that wound hasn't healed yet. But the Lord began to show me how I was constantly in my life trying to substitute his love for other things around me. And finding myself disappointed again and again and again by people. And the Lord just simply came to me and he said, I asked him one time, I said, what is my lesson in this? And the Lord just simply came to me and said to me, I never ever told you that this person was going to be able to love you like this. I never explained. You're trying to find my love in that person. And even though they're a conduit, and even though this may be the man or woman I told you to marry, this person can never substitute for what I need to give you. This person can never substitute. So when I lost my husband, because he led me, like I was saved and I was in Christ, but he really led me to Christ. Like he led me to have a deeper relationship with Christ. And so when I lost my husband, I felt like the foundation of everything around me had been shaken. But actually this thing would allow me to build a very independent relationship with Christ and find out really what his love was really, really about. See, Psalms 118:8 says it's better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in man. He never asked us to trust in man. We do that. He never asked us to put man in this position. We did that. Marceline, if you keep your focus on God's love, you will never be disappointed in man. People always ask me, how are you so loving? How are you so forgiving? The reason that I'm so loving, the reason that I'm so forgiving is because I know I don't have to trust you anyway. I come to the table and understand that you're going to fail me and that I'm going to fail you. And then I allow myself to freely love you because that's what God told me to do. The commandment simply said, they asked him, they said, what is the greatest commandment? He said, love me first. Love me first. Put me first. Have no other God before me. Put me in number one position in your life. So I'm going to ask you, is God in number one position in your life? If something happened and the people around you walked away from you, would you charge God? Would you charge God? Would you charge God for the offense? Would you charge God for what happened? Would you charge him? See, people are not equipped. People are not equipped to love you like God loved you. And so we hold people hostage to love us from a place that they don't have the capacity to love you. That's why I enter into relationships with people. Can I tell you something? All my friends that are my close friends had a very difficult time being my close friend at first. Do you know why? They had never experienced anybody love them like I love them. They had never experienced anyone love them at this capacity. And so most of them tried to finagle or figure out a way to get away from me. Most of them tried to finagle and get away from me. See, I've purposed in my life that if I'm really going to live this thing out, I'm going to love you in the purest of places. I'm going to love you in your dysfunction, because that is the way that the Lord has designed me to love you. If I'm going to and I can love you from that place. I can love you from that place because I understand now God's love for me. That's why I will take risk. Casey. That's why I'll take a risk with you. That's why I'll put my money on you. That's why I'll bet on you. I don't trust you. I ain't got to trust you, but I just got to love you. I just need to love you from such a purity of something. I just need to lead you to Christ. And I don't want you to love me and make me your idol. See, the problem is we keep putting people in the place of God. And because we keep putting people in the place of God, we keep getting disappointed. And God said to you, I ain't never tell you to trust them. I didn't never tell you to make your son your God. I didn't never tell you to make your daughter your God. I didn't never tell you to make your husband your God. As a matter of fact, I told you, don't you have any other God before me. I told you this. I told you multiple times. I told you that empty space in you. Do you know why people get addictions? Because they're looking for something to fill God's love. They're looking for something to fill. It was ripped from them so early. Do you know that the enemy teaches you the wrong way to love so early? He teaches you the wrong way to love so early so that you will constantly look for a fictitious type love. You look for a love that man gives you. You define that as God's love, and that's not even God's very best for you. No person can love. I love my kids. I love my kids. I love them more than anything. Most mothers do. But I can't even love them at the capacity God does. I can't carry them like God does. Do you know what it's like to be a mother that loves a son who's made a decision? He's going to go and do whatever he wants to do. I had to release him and say, you know what? Lord, you love him way more than I do. And so I had to say, you know what? I'm going to trust you with the things that I hold precious to me. We have been mixing up God's love and this thing that he has for us for way too long. We've been doing it for way too long. And so we keep getting disappointed by people. And we were never, ever supposed to put people in God's space. So I had been through all this tragedy. I lost a baby. I had been in abusive relationships. Can I tell y'all something? Do you know I dated somebody and he raped me at gunpoint? He forced me to have sex with him at gunpoint. Do you know when I knew that I understood the foundation of God's love is when I could forgive him and be his friend. And you like, no way you could be. I became his friend. I was cool with him. I wasn't mad. And I said, and he never even repented. And I said, you know what? I forgive you. I forgive you for this. And I became his friend. And I wasn't mad at him. And I just left him where he was. So I've learned you cannot. That's where the disappointment comes in. That's where we keep getting set up for failure. We keep trying to exchange God's love for the love of people. And people who are not healthy can never love you like God does. I can love you healthy. That's why it'll be strange to you. You will find my love strange. You will find my love strange because my love is more like Christ. You will find my love strange. You'll be like, don't nobody love like this. Because my love is fastened on being like Christ. Because he said for me to love you like I love myself. And since I love myself really well, it's easy for me to love you with an intensity and with a passion and to believe in you and to hope in you and to pray for you, even when you do me wrong. Even when you do me wrong, it's easy for me to do that. Why? Because he never told me to trust you. You gonna mess up. You gonna gossip. You gonna lie. You gonna get pissed off. You're gonna do all that. You're gonna fail me. I'm gonna fail you. And when I got that resolve in me, we never, come on, Casey, because we never understood the concept. We never, connections, the whole design is for you to be not connected to the people that you're supposed to connect to. He assaulted you very early. So can I tell you something? Some of the things that I've gone through, I told y'all this the other day, I had to go through for you. I'm a general in this. I'm a general. I got to lead the people out. And so if I'm going to lead the people out, some of y'all keep saying, why me? Why me? Why not you? If I got to lead the people out, I got to suffer for you. I got to go through for you. He told me to pick up my cross. I got to go through this for you. And I'm going through this for you so that you can become the very best you. There is nothing. If you know you're supposed to be connected to me, even if we don't we talk all the time, there is nothing that you can tell me that would throw me off. There is nothing that you could tell me that would make me love you less. There is nothing you can tell me. My love for you won't change based on your behaviors and your attitudes because I understand spirits and principalities. I understand how fractured people are. I was fractured. I understand. I understand. I wear my scarves so boldly for you. For you. That's why it's got to be transparency in this ministry. That's why it's got to be that I got to tell you my story. That's why we got to pillow talk. That's why we got to get healed. We've been putting love in the wrong places. The reservoir of love that we need can only, your husband is not going to get that. Perfect example. You ask your husband to do something, he don't do it, and then you get disappointed. You're disappointed because you keep trying to shift him in the position of God. And he's not God and he won't ever be. He's not going to ever be your God. And so you're like, well, why won't he love me like I need him to love me? Because he wasn't created to love you that way. He's not going to love you that way. And then you pour all your stuff in your kids and they don't receive you. And you like, I love them and make sacrifices for them all the time. Why can't they love me like I sacrifice for them? They weren't created to love you that way. Only God can love you that way. Only God can be that thing for you. And whenever we get that, whenever we understand his love, I found his love in the darkest of places. And so when I figured out how important his love was, it put me in a position and I stopped charging people. I released everybody. I said, you know what? I'm releasing everybody. I don't need to charge you for anything anymore. This is my fault. I put you in the wrong place. I put you in the place of my God. I chose you over God. I chose this situation over God. I compromised my relationship with God in order to have a relationship with you. And the only person that could love me at this capacity is God. His love never gives up. It never fails. It never runs out. He never will walk out on you. And you're talking to somebody who's been in the depths of hell. Depths in hell. It's Latina. Nothing but premeditated disappointments. Premeditated disappointments. You're going to be constantly disappointed if you're waiting on people, your kids, everybody, to love you at the capacity that God has to love you. You're going to keep getting disappointed. So when that, I almost said something else. When that joker don't respond to you like he's supposed to respond to you, you're going to think he failed you. He didn't fail you. God, he can't feel God's love for you. He put people in their right place. Y'all know, put people in their right places. Stop putting them above God. I did it. I kept trying to figure out, why was I going through all the stuff that I was going through? And God just kept saying, you were looking for love in all the wrong places, LaKisha. You were looking for people and things and degrees and other stuff to complete you. And I was simply saying to you, I've completed you enough. I created you complete. I created you. Isaiah, I wrote yesterday the daily devotional. When it says they'll make your crooked places straight, the Lord says, I will go before you. I will level the mountains. And then the people will know that I called you by name. We still waiting on people to affirm you. You waiting on people to call you. And God is simply saying to you, no, my love is enough. Ephesians 2:8, for by grace you have been saved through faith. And this is not your own doing. It is a gift from God. Proverbs 3:5-6, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not into your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he makes your path straight. You're having a problem trusting God because you've been equating God's love with man's love. And it's not the same. You keep thinking God's love is man's love, and it's not the same. And he keeps trying to show you himself. He keeps saying, you keep choosing other things, and he keeps saying, pick me, pick me, pick me. Here I am. Here I am for you. Here I am. I'll never leave. I gave my life for you already. You don't have to. God chose you and you never even had to prove yourself, baby. Y'all about to make. God chose you and you never had to prove yourself to him. You never had to prove yourself to God. You've never had to prove you're worthy enough. You never had to prove you're smart enough. You've never had to prove you're pretty enough. You've never had to prove you're tall enough, shorter. You've never had to prove yourself to God. Ever. You ain't ever got to justify yourself. For he formed you in your mother's womb. He said, even if you're in the depths of hell, I'm there. Do you know, even if you take yourself through hell, even if you're in a hellish situation, even if you've made a decision to be involved in a relationship, you ain't got no business. When I was involved in a relationship, I ain't had no business. The Lord said, I was still there. He said, I was still watching you. I was still looking at you. I was shaking my head. But I was just waiting on you, LaKisha, to come back to me. I was waiting on you to see that this situation wasn't going to fulfill what you're looking for. That's why you keep searching. You're on a search. The reason you're on a search is because you keep trying to substitute stuff for God. You keep trying to put things into place. That's how people wind up with addictions. That's why porn gets addictive. That's why drugs gets addictive, because you're in a search for God. And in your search for God, you're trying to fill it with other things. And anytime you try to substitute, I told y'all that's going to be in my book, artificial means of sustaining you will never last. Only what you do for God will last. Only what you do with God will last. It's never. Psalms 118, 19, 11. It says, it's better to take refuge in the Lord than to trust in princes. All nations surrounded me in the name of the Lord. I cut them off. They surrounded me on every side in the name of the Lord. I'm telling you. It's the secret wisdom of God that has come to us to let us know we've been looking at love wrong. So when I wrote that I had joy for mourning, I found the love of God. Can I tell y'all something? My stuff ain't even worked out. Like, all my stuff ain't even worked out. I got some stuff. I got some deadlines. I got some stuff where I need to see God move. But I've been the best, the most happiest that I've ever been. I've been sleeping good. I've been eating good because I came to the resolve. I don't need to replace your love with anything else. I don't have to do it anymore. I don't have to figure this out anymore. I don't have to try to figure out how you're going to provide for me. You said you will provide for me. I don't have to figure that out no more. You got this. But it came from a place. I'm telling you, it came through my dark places. And I figured out that his love for me superseded anybody that was or was not in my life. Jermaine was only to lead me to Christ. He was only to lead me to a different relationship with Christ. He was only for such a time in my life. The enemy came in and the enemy thought he was. Can I tell you something? Every time the enemy tries to take something from you, it's so that you can think you've lost God's love. It's so that you can think God isn't working for you. It's so that you can think God lied to you. You know you heard. So you can confuse man's love with God's love. And God is simply saying, baby, I love you more than any man, any woman, your church people, your whatever. I love you more than any of them could ever love you. I created you. I made you in my image. I created you. I made you, LaKisha, 5'11", sandy brown hair, little bit of a buck teeth, light brown eyes. You ain't ever got to prove yourself to me. I made you loud. I made you funny. I created you with that personality. I created you. His love, that's why you ain't never got to prove yourself. People will teach you to prove yourself to them. You ain't never got to prove yourself to people. You ain't never got to prove yourself to people. He created you. Stop rejecting yourself because man has rejected you. God hasn't rejected you. God hasn't rejected you. He will never leave or forsake you. Stop rejecting who you are. Stop rejecting the uniqueness of how God created you. He formed you in your mother's womb. Yes, you are. Come on, Latina. You are a masterpiece because you are made by the master. And if you ever stop trying to substitute, and I'm patting my belly because that's where his reservoir sits. Don't try to fill the reservoir that's only supposed to be filled with his love. You know I'm solution oriented. So what do I need to do, LaKisha? Find his love in his word. Do you know that every circumstance and situation that you've been through, the Lord has a scripture? Do you know there are people that have gone before you? Can I tell you the reason that women have a difficult time attaching to each other? The Lord doesn't want you to attach to other women because he knows that if women have strength and unity and love and build each other up and share the stories that they need to share, they'll get healed. So you'll have a bad relationship with somebody. You'll charge them for something wrong, and they're only human. And instead of being grown and working through the relationships, we disconnect from other women, and we really need to hear your story. And you may not tell your story to everybody else, but you may really need to hear my story. You may need to hear my story. I might need to know you got divorced 2 or 3 or 4 times. I might need to know that. It may not be a world public broadcast, but I need to be able to receive, because that's when I'm going to understand that God can love me through it too. He can love me through it too. He can love me through it too. There's a strength in that. That's why I embrace all women. That's why I love people. That's why I can love people who be talking about me. I be like, I love you anyway. Come on, let me bless you. Let me do something for you. But that comes from being in the depth and understanding his love. So y'all, I got my joy for mourning. Like, I got my joy for mourning, and everything in my life ain't even worked out. Natasha, I know, because you shared your story with me. It made me do a deeper research for myself. And then when I discovered that I was trying to replace God's love with something else, man, I began to do the work on myself and grow up. Your story, Natasha, is what changed me. Because you said to me, there's something else that God wants you to know. And I discovered what it was. That he didn't want me ever replacing his love with anything else. I had the wrong perception of what his love was. I thought it was tied to people. And it's tied to him. And it's a direct line and connection that comes with communion and being in relationship with him. I hope y'all got that today. That's it for today. We had to come back and do this video part 2 because the enemy didn't want me to share this with you today. He did. He fought this morning. But guess what? God loves you. Like God loves you. Do not confuse his love with, find out what his love looks like. See, you have the wrong visual of God's love. Find out. Hey, Cherie. Hey, sister. Hey, beautiful. I love tall women. Y'all, we tall women be reunited, but she is a powerful woman of God. Hey, beautiful. I'm telling you, find out what his love looks like. Like, find out what it looks like. Find out. Go into the word. Ask somebody, what is your rendition? What does love look like for you? Because most of us learned love wrong from bad parents. When you had a bad parent teach you love, like if you had a parent restrain themselves from you, then you'll think it's okay to restrain yourself from your kids. Find out what God, it's the evidence of his love is all in here. The evidence of his, do you know why I do Saturdays? My Coffee and Conversations is for Saturday. It's for you guys to see heroes, for you guys to see people who have overcome crazy situations, and they're going to show you how love. That's why Saturdays are there. That's why I tell other people's stories. It's not about me. It's so that you can see God's love through other people, because most of us have wrong images of his love. We have wrong images of what his love looks like, and you cannot substitute. You've been trying to substitute for so long. So guess what we're going to do today? We're going to free all the people. We're going to free everybody that we've charged. We're going to free everybody that we've charged. We're going to free them today. We're going to speak of freedom. We're going to release everybody that we've ever charged and tried to put them in the place of God's love. We're going to release them today. No more replacements, no more substitutes for God's love. We're going to figure out, Holy Spirit, you're going to show us what God's love, what God's love looks like. We're no longer going to try to replace the love of God with a man, with a woman, with anything. We're only going to accept God's love to be the truth. John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have everlasting life. God sacrificed for you in the very beginning. That's it. It's not like a human's love. God's love is truly unconditional. And I found that in my darkest places. And I got my joy for mourning. I love y'all. We got to go. We had to start this video over. I love y'all so much. Hey, tomorrow morning, Travis, I saw him log on. I don't know if he's still on. Tomorrow morning, Pastor Stephen T. Robinson, I will be interviewing him. I cannot wait. He has new music coming. I love him, not just because he's my cousin, but because he loves me and all my wildness. And he feeds me, and I'm always loving to eat. Most people don't know I'm greedy and I love food, and he feeds me. So I'm going to be interviewing him tomorrow. I cannot wait to interview him. We have some funny stories as kids, so hopefully some of those stories will come out tomorrow. We did some dumb stuff, like we did some really dumb stuff. So tune in tomorrow for our broadcast. Hey, today, everything at LMJ Ministries shop is 25% off. My birthday is Sunday. Go get a t-shirt. Go get a coffee mug. These things are handcrafted, so they come in a little slow. But go get a t-shirt. Go get a coffee mug. 25% off all weekend long. We're celebrating LMJ's 44. I'll be the double this Sunday. I'll be the double this Sunday, and I'm super. Hey, there are 5 more spots for the vision board party. If you want to be at this vision board party, we're going to walk you through how to get this thing that you need to give birth to out of you. We're going to walk you through how to give this thing you need to give birth to out of you. Yes, we are. So go sign up for the vision board party. Hey, ladies in Texas, we're going to drop this link today. Pillow Talk is coming to Texas January 26th and 27th. Friday from 7 to 11, Saturday from 12 to 4. We're doing Pillow Talk in Texas. Invite your friends, share it. It's going to be an amazing weekend. I love you guys so much. Y'all be praying for me. Praying for my household. Pray. My grandmother is in the hospital. We had to admit her yesterday, but I know that God is faithful. So y'all pray for my mother's strength. She's my grandmother's primary caregiver. So y'all pray for her. I love y'all so much. I'll see y'all in the morning at 8 a.m. Love, peace, and blessings.